Hey BBLA, we're going to work on some basics this morning. So this is something that I taught you the very first class we ever did. In the intro room, or when we did our intro, we learned how to switch. It was one of the very first things. But switching is super important for a variety of reasons, right? For our basic students, it's how we switch feet, it's how we keep moving, but also as we kind of progressively talk about sparring, we talk about self-defense, we even talk about forms, how we move our body and kind of what our hips do and what our shoulders do and where our feet are, and staying balanced all the time is super important. So I have a really easy drill that we can do today, and it's going to be, we're going to talk about switching and sliding. All right, just those two things. And then as we go forward here, I can talk more about footwork and what we do with our feet in kind of relation to the rest of our body. So today it's just going to be switches and slides. And then we're going to do a combination that I learned when I was growing up. So when I was, probably about 11, maybe 12, and I hated it. But looking back on it now, it's a really important combination. It taught me a lot of things, and we're going to do it a little bit today at the very end. All right, so first we're going to talk about our switch. So what all you need to do this is if you worked with Mrs. Weber earlier this week, you kind of did that whole drill. We had that line of tape. You can just use painter's tape. You can use anything you put on the ground. I have this kind of piece of fabric just like this. It's just a blue string. It's a little bit helpful if it moves, because then it keeps me from cheating. Sometimes if I tape stuff down, it doesn't move. But whatever you have is totally fine. Now, we're hoping that the cat's not going to try to help me. He was when I was practicing this. So I'm going to put this just on the ground. And all this is here for is to be a line so that I know what I need to do and I can't pass this line. All right, so we're going to be in our defensive stance. All right, when I do a switch, I have my front foot right up against that line. All right, now when I switch, I can't pass that line. All right, because if we're thinking about self-defense or sparring, if I switch and I land in front of that line, really, dude? All right, if I switch and land in front of that line, right, so I'm gonna switch here, I land in front, that changes the distance I have from my opponent. So now they know that I'm moving in and they move back right away. So I just did a little bit of work and nothing's happening, right? They're just moving away, they're on the defensive, it didn't work. But if I switch and I have my foot right in front of that line and I keep my foot behind it, I'm still at that neutral level, nothing's changed. So my opponent doesn't react because I haven't changed that distance at all. So when we switch all the time in class, I want you to think about every time we switch, we keep our foot right behind that line. It never changes. So right now, let's just try it all together. We find our line, we're in a defensive stance. We're gonna switch 1, we're gonna switch 2, we're gonna switch 3, we're gonna switch 4, and we're gonna switch 5. And then one more time so I can keep talking to you. All right, that's our switch. Now, we never just switch and stop, right? We switch and go into something else. So we're gonna do a switch and just a punch. Right now, remember, if I'm so focused on my feet, sometimes I forget about what my upper body is doing. So I want to be able to switch, land in a good defensive stance, and be ready to throw that punch right away. So let's think about all those pieces. I'm going to switch here. I land with my feet in the appropriate stance. I have my back foot planted so I can turn into that punch, keeping this hand up nice and tight, and all the way back. Then I switch, don't pass my line, and punch. Good. And I switch, and punch. Nicely done. And I switch, and punch. Good job, right? Don't pass that line. Now, we don't just punch, we also kick. So let's try putting it all together. We're going to try the switch, the kick, and the punch. This is a drill we've been doing since you were all basic students. All right, so we play this game all the time where I say switch and a technique, and you go. All right, this is what we're working on. Let's break down a little bit more for you. All right, so we're in a defensive stance here. We're going to switch, do a back leg front kick, and a punch, and land without crossing our line at all. All right, here we go. So our defensive stance, switch, back leg front kick, and punch. Ayah! Good job. And switch, back leg front kick, and punch. Ayah! Let's try it again. Switch, back leg front kick, and punch. Ayah! And one more time. Switch, back leg front kick, and punch. Ayah! There we go. Nicely done. Now, the next thing we're going to worry about is a slide. All right, so for some of my basic students, this might be a little bit harder. And for a lot of my advanced students, this is the bane of your existence. We've been working on this forever. Master's team, you also don't like this one too much. So when we do a slide, all right, we almost always do a sliding side kick. So let's think about that. I have my line right here. All right, when I do a sliding side kick, I'm pretty much taking a step. So I basically want this back leg to slide-ish, as close as we can get, in a perfect world. It slides all the way up to that line, right? So my heel's just about on that line right there. Perfect. All right, now, sometimes that's really hard, right? So it starts easy. We're just gonna do little hops, And if that's as far as we get, that's fine. All right, the thing I don't want to do is I do not move this foot first and then pick up this leg. All right, so it's not a offensive side kick, right? I'm not stepping up to that heel, driving my side kick out and landing. That's not what we're doing at all. It's a sliding side kick. All right, now just like I said before, when we move that front foot, if I pass that line when I switch, I change that distance between me and my opponent, right? So the reaction zone is different now. If I step up like this, they know I'm doing something again, right? I'm giving them a telegraph, a cue. So we want to make sure that when I do this sliding technique, I pick my front foot up because my body doesn't move, right? I chamber, maybe move back a little bit, that's fine. So if I chamber and they move in, I can do a side kick. But I chamber, now I'm going to slide, side kick, and my heel is right about to that line, right? We can all practice. Me too. So we're going to slide back. Now I shouldn't be able to touch my line. I shouldn't move. I can go over it and skip back. So we're going to try it. We're going to chamber. Front foot comes up. Big chamber. Big pivot. Whoa, slide. And reset. Good job. Let's try it again. Bring those toes up to the line. We're going to chamber. Kick. Good. And reset. Let's try one more time. All right, defensive stance. Chamber. Kick. Good. And reset. Let's try the other side. So we got a good side and we got a better side. So we're going to switch. All right, so remember when you have my toes right up to that line here, I'm going to pivot on my back foot. For me right now, that's my left. So I'm going to chamber, kick, whoops, and slide. Good, and reset. Good. Make sure your toes are right on that line. Chamber, kick, good, and reset. Nice, and let's try it again. Ready? And chamber, kick, ooh, and reset. And one more time, just for fun. Ready? And chamber, kick, and reset. Good job, and switch. All right, so that's our slide. Now, when I was growing up, I learned that slide for all sorts of kicks. It wasn't just side kicks, it was front kicks, it was round kicks, it was side kicks, it was crescent kicks, it was a weird kick we don't do called a half kick. All right, there's all of this stuff. And one of the combinations that drove me up the wall, I didn't get it, it didn't make sense, it didn't click until suddenly it did, was we had to do, it was a jab punch, skip up front kick here, land, front kick, 1-2 punch. All right, so it's a really weird combination, especially for us, because we always start our combinations almost always with our hands, right? But we don't move in that way. So when I slide just like that, instead of chambering and turning my body, I'm just picking my front knee up. That's all I'm doing. So I'm right here, let's try it. We're gonna go jab, punch. So let's think about this defensively. If I do that jab, punch, my opponent is backing up. All right, so we're gonna try it all together. Jab, punch. Now I'm not stepping into this. This is the part that was so hard for me. I have to keep my toes here. I pick my toe up and I kind of push off my back leg. Knee up, hop, knee comes up, land, right? Then front kick, 1-2 punch. All right, so let's try it. It's gonna be jab punch. Right, knee comes up, slide, down, kick, 1-2 punch. Good, let's try that again. All right, and jab punch, knee up, slide, land, front kick, 1-2. All right, now, if we can do it without landing, that's better, right? Because if I land, that's kind of a broken beat. So if that's easy, or if that's kind of one thing you're like, I think I got balance, all right, we're not moving that back leg first. Try this instead. Jab, punch, pick up that knee, slide, then kick, 1-2 punch. All right, so we cut out that step down altogether. All right, so let's try that once or twice. Ready? Jab, punch, knee comes up, push, kick, 1-2. Good, and we come all the way down. Now we put it all together so it's one motion. Jab, punch, slide, kick, 1-2. Good, and we reset, switch. Let's walk through it a couple times here. So this will be jab, punch. Good, I bring that punch hand back, pick up my front knee, slide, drop, kick, 1-2. Good, and I bring it all the way back. Here we go. Jab, punch, pick up my front knee, slide, drop, kick, 1-2. Good, all right, let's try it all together without that drop. All right, Loki's helping out. So it's gonna be jab, punch, pick up that front knee, slide and kick, and 1-2. Good job. One more time, ready? Jab, punch, pick it up, slide, kick, and 1-2 punch. And reset, nice, and switch. All right, so that slide up knee can be applied into so many things, right? Learning a good fake is just as important as learning good technique, because I can then slide up, fake into that round kick, into a side kick, into a hook kick, into whatever I need, but I need to be able to cover that distance safely. All right, so we're gonna keep working on this, but what I want you guys to do at home is to send me a video, send me a photo. All right, run through those switches. Make a line on the ground, switch. Make sure you don't pass that line. Switch, then show me a technique. You pick your technique. It can be side kicks, front kicks, punches, all that's cool. Advanced Students Master Team, spin kicks, tornadoes, rock out, have fun. All right, then I want you to try that combination. Jab, punch, knee up, slide, front kick, 1-2 punch. Okay, that's your challenge. I can't wait to see your videos, and thanks so much for seeing something that drove me crazy when I was a little bit younger than I am now. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.